Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Piercy. I'm going to be your instructor for high school geometry this year, and even though we're not going to be sitting in the same class with each other, I did want to take a moment and introduce myself and tell you a little bit about what high school geometry is going to be about. High school geometry is a lot, well, I want to say a lot, but it's definitely different than the geometry that you're used to thinking about. Every year at the beginning of the school year, I ask my kids, well, what do you think high school geometry is? And inevitably, I'm going to get, the answer that it's basically about shapes and stuff, triangles, squares, prisms, that kind of thing, the stuff that you're used to seeing from previous math classes. And that's true to an extent, but that's only a small part of what geometry really is. And most of what high school geometry is going to be is really brand new stuff to you. It's going to be all of the stuff, all of the foundational building blocks, the thinking, the reasoning that formed an entire system of mathematics that allowed you to have those shapes and stuff that you're used to seeing already. So looking at it from a scientist's perspective, we're going to start at the very beginning. Everything's been deconstructed. So scientists and people that have been studying the natural world for years have been always thinking and wondering, well, what is it made of? What makes this thing? So you can look at anything around you. You could, pick up your phone. You could, grab a pencil. Here's a nice little tool we'll be playing with a little bit, a protractor, a nice little straight edge, helps us measure some angles. But they would ask themselves, okay, well, what makes that rock a rock? What made it up? And that kind of led scientists, physicists and chemists and stuff like that. They would be trying to figure out, well, we've been able to figure out that, we have this table of elements, and this table of elements creates these molecules. Well, those molecules are made up of these atoms, and atoms are made up of protons and neutrons and electrons. Well, what makes up those? Is that the smallest that it gets? Is that the basic? The final part that we get to, and the answer in that case is no. Protons, neutrons, and electrons, they're made up of things like quarks and gluons and muons. And if you really want to be a science nerd like me, you can kind of look some of that stuff up, but because it's really pretty fascinating. But I'm getting off topic. That's what the scientists do. They're kind of working backwards to see, well, what makes up the natural world. Well, we already kind of know the basics. We know the starting point of what high school or Euclidean geometry is, and that's where we start. We start with the very basics, and then we use a process of reasoning and thinking that is different than what you see in most math classes. And we form a system of, postulates and conjectures and theorems that form all of the properties that you're already kind of taking advantage of in your other math classes, where you see the triangles and parallelograms and parallel lines and all of those things. So that's really kind of be what geometry is. We're going to start at the very basics, the very bare bones elements of what geometry is, and from there we're going to create and construct an entire system of thinking that really makes up what high school geometry is. So again, thanks. I just wanted to introduce myself again, give you a little bit of background information about what you're getting yourself into this year, and I really look forward to working with you guys, hearing from you guys, and maybe even taking a field trip and meeting you guys at your campuses. So anyway, thanks for watching, and see you soon. Good luck, all that good stuff. Take it easy.